Welcome, everyone, to the Accounting Profits and Prosperity Show. My name is Louis Prosperi. I am very excited to have Carla Caldwell here with us today, the founder of Caldwell Consulting and Training. Welcome, Carla, and how are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I am doing fantastic. It is great to be here with you.
What really interested me was when we were talking earlier before we started the show was about the modern practice, because it is a wide topic, but what's interesting is the modern practice is completely different from the traditional practice. And I would love to hear your experiences and what you think where they should go today.
I think a modern practice is really embracing the change and the technology and better processes and even the dynamics of how we manage our teams and the way that we work. And that is really what a modern practice is all about. And what I find is that it is disruptive in many ways to how a traditional firm has been going. We think about that traditional firm where everybody comes into the office and we sit down and do our work and go home at the end of the day. And sometimes our clients are in the office with us or we visit them at their office. Modern practices aren't looking like that anymore. It's more like what we're doing right here, where we've not actually met each other in person. You know, we're visiting and chatting with each other online and using the technology to make that happen. And that's really what a modern practice is all about.
Cool. So let's break it down a little bit. What about the customer interaction? Because that's changed dramatically, and we can be honest with each other. The pandemic helped us accelerate what was already happening, but it just accelerated it very, very fast. But how do we exchange and how do we interact with customers today compared to in the past? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think, again, online and those interactions online have really made a difference. I personally absolutely love being able to connect with people through video calls instead of a phone call. So you're actually getting to see each other, and I think that's great. We're also finding that we're not needing to have pieces of paper dropped off, or we're not having to be there in person to visit with our clients. We're able to do all of those things online as well. Now, I'm a people person. I love hanging out and being with people, so I still like to be able to connect with my clients that way. But I have clients that I've literally never met face to face because they're all over the country. Right. So we're able to actually serve clients and interact with them in a much different way. We're also using video to explain things to clients. So we might send them a video about their financials. We've even had clients send us back videos with questions and we've interacted that way. I find that it actually is super meaningful for them and they're really excited about that because we take the time to explain things to them. We make the most of those phone calls or those video calls that we have with them.
So that is, Carla, let's really focus on what you just said, because people know Zoom. I know professional accountants and bookkeepers are all doing Zoom to some extent. But what you said was interesting, is giving our customers a video rather than a written document to go through their financials.
Yes.
So I've been experimenting with that myself recently a little bit. And I find that what I could do in maybe a 5-minute or 10-minute video recording compared to having to put it on paper and just have maybe point forms on the paper changes dramatically. Tell me how you've incorporated that into your business or how you're consulting other practices. Like, how do you tell them to, this is the next phase of interaction?
Well, we've used Loom, Loom, as opposed to Zoom. I don't know what other letters we're going to get in there for the video content creation, but Loom is the other one. And honestly, I will challenge even you, Louis, to make it shorter. I'm telling you what, our world is taking snippets and tidbits of information at a time. I have a 7-minute video that we created. We can look at the metrics and see they've never watched more than like 4 minutes of it. It just is short and sweet. So we'll do a really quick video that tells them these are the highlights. And then sometimes we'll say down below are the written details of things that we want to bring to your attention. Let us know if you want to jump in, but just kind of giving them the bullet points of it. I talk fast, so I can get 2 minutes done pretty quick with a lot of content, but we'll do those videos that way. The other thing that I'll tell you, I discovered this with my daughter. What is it about subtitles? I thought that was for people that really needed to read and they couldn't hear, or apparently it's now for all of us. Being able to see those subtitles, and all of these apps now have it. So it'll actually have the words on the screen or have a transcript to the side. That's also super powerful for people as well.
You're going to have to expand on that, Carla. Subtitles and transcripts, is that like a post-production on product,
No, it
or do
does
you
it
have to write
for
it
you.
yourself, or does it do it automatically? What
It
does it
does it
do?
automatically.
Wow.
I
Okay.
know, right? And so that really helps. I'm a visual person, so I love being able to do videos, but we're all distracted. So having that transcript, it literally is transcribing it. I think you have to turn it on in some of the apps, but
Right.
it's all part of it now. And so it works out really well. So being able to do that for a client, they can see it and they can hear it is really powerful.
This is new for me, and this is, I
Sure.
think, amazing. When we talk about the transcript, is it then available for them to highlight after the fact, or is it just on the video? Do you know?
I honestly don't recall off the top of my head. I actually did this myself. I was watching a recording of something recently and they had the transcription
Okay.
on the side of it for me as well, but I don't
Right.
recall if I could highlight it, to be honest.
If they can't, we should give them something and say that's an added feature you should add to it, right?
Absolutely. We've come up with new features for them already.
Yeah, that's right. What I'd like our audience to know is, great, we're talking about Loom, right? We're talking about how to do it. Can you give some examples of how they would be able to implement this product in, like, maybe instead of an email response, they would do a Loom response. Instead of giving them a financial statement, then they'd have to meet with them. They would do a summary and then send us financials. Like, what do you recommend?
Well, what we've done before is a couple things, and it depends on the relationship with the client that you have. I typically will send them an email with the link because as soon as you record the Loom video, it says, okay, the link is already copied on your clipboard. You literally open up your email, hit reply, paste, and you're good to go.
Perfect.
And that sends that to them. Some people want to email financials. Some people put them in portals. Some people say, hey, go run it in QuickBooks or Xero or whatever they're using and tell them to just run the financial, and then this will walk them through it. So it depends again on who you are and if you're emailing statements or not or whatever. A lot of times we'll just email it to them. And some of our clients, because we tend to work with clients that are a little bit more tech savvy, because if they're going to work with us, they're having to use technology. So they're going to do this. We've had clients email us back with a Loom video themselves that say, this is so amazing. I've never had an accounting professional ever do this. And here are some more questions. And we'll just go back and forth like that. And they absolutely love it.
So basically, even our customer base who is not tech savvy and they see it, they seem to adapt to the exchange through video rather than just straight email. So you just talked about the tech savvy accountant or bookkeeper. What does that mean to you? So that the people out there, when they listen, they can then decide whether they're the tech savvy accountant or they're not the tech savvy accountant. What kind of criteria do you have to be or to have to then qualify as a tech savvy accountant or bookkeeper?
I think not being afraid of it and being able to be willing to just kind of explore a tad. If you're running a Zoom call, you're already starting to kind of bridge that. And I think that includes pretty much everybody on the planet. I think we're kind of all starting to go in that direction. But also being able to understand that there are tools in place that allow us to do our job better for our clients and provide more value to them, and being willing to embrace that. I mean, most of us are using Outlook or Gmail. We're using tools like Zoom. We're already in accounting software, or if you're doing taxes, then you're in tax prep software. You're already a little bit more tech savvy than you think. It doesn't mean that we're all on Instagram and knowing how to do a TikTok video or whatever. I don't mean that. I still don't do those things either.
Well, I'm glad we don't have to do that because I don't know either one of those at the present time. So
I don't either. Every once in a while I go on something and I feel like really, really cool when I get to go on there and find something. But for the most part, it's just embracing that technology and realizing that just like the tools that we use at home to do things that we do every day, it's just enhancing what we do for our clients. And it's important for them. They're using those tools and we need to be able to embrace that and help them as well.
So let's talk about a certain component of the tools, because the ones that you talked about right now, which make sense to me, are all the production tools, right? They're the production tools that an accountant or bookkeeper would have to use to do their work, right? Which is the accounting software, the tax software, the financial statement prep software, Excel, and so forth. But let's talk about the communication software between the customer and the professional, because that's probably where things have changed dramatically. If the accountant or bookkeeper, professional bookkeeper, utilize those, do you agree that their effectiveness and their ability to be more engaged with their customers and also add more value increases?
110%. Can you go 110? I don't know, but I'm going to say at
Yeah,
least.
you could.
Yeah.
In this show, you could definitely go 110.
Well,
Not
we're
a
doing at least
not a
that
problem.
then. The thing that I think about is, and I'll relate this to something maybe many of us can understand. Steve Jobs always had on like the same outfit, right? Because he
Yes, he
said he
did.
wanted to always have that decision making muscle ready for the big decision. So he had a standard morning routine, and that allowed him to be super creative elsewhere. I feel
Right.
like that's what we need to use these tools to do as well. Standardize our processes so that those types of things we get done quickly so we can save our creativeness for when we're talking to the client and having to explain more complex things. We're ready to do that rather than having to remember and think about kind of the more standard things that we do. Let's document that. And so what I see using tools like our firm uses Carbon, which is a practice management solution, but there's others out there, Asana and Arrow and so many. But what I want to do is be able to have that internal communication and also be able to have that standardized process. I know what we have going on. I know what work we're doing. I know where it is in the process. And that allows me to be focused more on what's going on with my client and have that information at my fingertips so that when they do call in, even if they spoke with somebody else on the team, we know what's going on and the
Right.
client feels so well taken care of at that point.
I'm assuming carbon arrows and so forth are like workflow programs. Is that what they are, or
Yes, practice
book
management type
practice
solutions.
management?
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the practice management. So what you're basically saying is free up the time to communicate more with your customer and use these tools. So the bottleneck then for the professional is where you tend to do work a lot is making sure that the production processes are either streamlined or pushed down, right?
Mhm.
So that the professional can spend more time with the communication and also have that information at their fingertips. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And it allows us to bring on clients faster. They're kind of coming into a ready-made workflow stream and they're just feeling like, okay, all I got to do is just kind of get into that
Right, right.
process and they can do that a little bit faster. We've defined it. They know what to expect. We can explain to our clients on this date, you're going to get an invitation for this app, and then we're going to need you to send us this information. We'll be ready by this date. They feel like we're so organized and know what's coming. And also, this helps when we talk about our team. Bringing on a team member to an existing process and workflow helps them feel more secure in knowing what's expected of them. And we get them going on one client, we add another client, and it's pretty much the same process. They can start picking up things and get up to speed faster as well. So it really allows us to do the work and spend the time with those clients that I think is sometimes missing.
So that's interesting. So you're talking about the automating or setting up procedures for the knowledge base, the intellectual capital, where then it allows it to be transferable from one staff person to the other, so that the customer has more of a seamless process. It's not Judy or Bob. Where's Bob? Where's Bob? You know, it could be Judy. It could be Bob. In your experiences, what has been the bottleneck for firms to do this? Because we all agree it should happen. And I guarantee you, if you talk to any accountant or professional firm, either they say we do that or we're planning to do that or we're doing it. When you go in, what do you see that causes bottlenecks or causes issues? Like what things would we have to work out before we can actually do something like this?
Well, I think one of the big things that I see a lot is that the accountants and bookkeepers are doers and we love to get stuff done. And there's a lot of satisfaction in that.
Right.
And when we take a step back from that and get into those higher level conceptual ideas of how to streamline our workflows and really make that better, it's a little bit of a different skill than what we have when we're doing the work, and that's uncomfortable. It's not something that we've done a ton of, and so really spending that time to do it. Any business owner that's you've ever read any business books, they tell you to work on your business and not in your business,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
reason everybody says it is because nobody's figured out how to do it. We're all diving into the weeds, and so really taking the time to pull that back and being very intentional to do that
Right.
is, I think, really the biggest thing that keeps us from making that happen is that we just are plugging away at it. We've got our margins set too small so that we don't have the opportunities to take that time away to work on our business, look ahead, look forward, what's coming down the pike, and really focus on those processes. Instead, it's Oh my goodness. By the time I showed them how to do it, I could have done it
I can do it
myself.
myself. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
How many times have we heard that?
Oh my goodness.
You could get rich on that one.
If only I could get rich on that one, that would be awesome. I've said it myself too, but learning to take the time to document that and not have to do it over and over and over every single time you talk to a client or a team member is really helpful. Then we can focus on more interesting, creative, value conversations that our clients want and that our team members want. And that's really what we're after.
So, Carl, let's be honest, though. The key part is getting the boring stuff done first, right? Honestly, what you just described is the stuff that we have to do every day that has to come through the system. The greatest thing that I've had in my career is people are good at documenting it, but they're not good at doing it. Right? Do you have things in your practice that you utilize that takes it from this is A, B, C, D, you're supposed to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and now they do A, B, F, G, and G never existed. How do you help them get from the documentation component to implementation and then to consistency? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's where that pays off, correct?
Well, that's part of what we do as supervising our team members, right? And
Right.
holding each other accountable to understanding what those processes are. And so what we've done is we have documented our processes, and these are the things that we're supposed to do. Every once in a while, one of the things that might be good is just shake stuff up a little bit. Let somebody else work on that client for a week and find out, oh, wait, that's different than this one. And having multiple people on a client, if possible, is also helpful because there's some accountability between the accountant and the bookkeeper, as an example. And also having it where it's not always the same accountant and bookkeeper that work together. Again, depends on the size of your firm and how things are laid out. But being intentional, I can't emphasize that enough, that
I
it's
like that word.
intentionality. That's my word of the year this year. So
I
I'm
love that
using
word.
it often.
Okay.
But it's about being intentional with how you've decided that I want to do my practice this way. So in our firm, I made the decision when I started, I was doing nothing except online. And that has actually freed me up. I think I can think of one person that said, I can't work with you if you want me to be completely online. The other ones are most likely, well, if you really feel that strongly, are you using this with a lot of clients? They ask me a few questions and they're like, fine, I will do it. And then they've never looked back and regretted it. And so it's helped us because that's standardized it. We were very intentional, and we still are. We do not own any desktop, anything. And so we do it all online, and that allows us to make that decision to work with clients that way.
Not only do you preach technology, tech savvy, you live it too. You're living it as well, right? Because if the bulk or almost all of your software is what we call app or cloud-based software, the desktop is literally just a dummy machine, right? You can use any desktop to do your work, right?
Absolutely.
So that's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
really good. I like the word intentional. What I also liked was the mixing up of having other people do the same routine to see if they end up having the same results, which is what we don't do enough in our firm. Like if Jody did it or Bob did it last year, gets assigned to it this year, right?
That's right. We think that makes us more efficient, but what I really find is that we can share some best practices and learn from one another. We really are an incredible industry full of extremely brilliant people, and we're also just human nature, prone to routine and to do the things the way we've always done it. And when we challenge ourselves a little bit, I'm not talking about you have to stand on your head while you do whatever work you've done, but just doing it a little bit different, being willing to accept that there can be better ways and not taking it personal, as though I've literally talked with people who have had to switch from desktop to online applications, and they've been like, I feel stupid, like I didn't do this sooner. And it's like, nope, this is where you are today. We're moving forward, and we're doing that, and we're learning new and better ways. It's hard and it's scary. I mean, honestly, I sit there and think about, technology that's coming down the pike, and sometimes it can feel uncertain. And I just have to continue to look and say, but when I sit down with my clients and I explain things to them, and you have that little light bulb that goes off invisibly above their head, and they get it, and they really appreciate you spending the time to talk with them, there's no artificial intelligence that's going to replace that. And that's the true value of what we bring to them. And by using the technology, we get to shine and share that with those clients, that value that we bring. And that's what I want to see in our industry more of.
Well, you hit it right on the head, the fear of uncertainty.
Yes.
In my opinion, that prevents and being what I call no man's land. When you're comfortable, you're in no man's land, right? Being comfortable is not the best place to be when you're in business, because that means you don't want to do anything different, right? And challenging yourself and being thinking out of the box. People always say that, but I always believe that as a professional, if you're not a little bit uncomfortable at all times, then you're not at the right place. Because if you're comfortable and happy, something's wrong. Today's world, the uncertainty is a big thing. We have to embrace uncertainty. I mean, as a professional, people know you're human, so no one expects you to be perfect. They want you to do the best and use your knowledge and expertise. But at the end of the day, uncertainty is there. Part of our role, Carla, is to mitigate sort of uncertainty.
Sure.
We have to leap into it as well. And I really like the fact that you're trying to push your customers and bookkeepers and accountants to face it. That's really good. I really appreciate that. How well is the battle going right now with pushing them to the uncertainty? How are you doing?
We have good days and bad days and going half mad days, right? And
Right,
so
right.
I think I'm quoting somebody there. But anyway, I do believe that we're seeing more of it. And to what you said earlier, the pandemic kind of helps with that a little bit. We kind of had to get pushed and to do that. Now, I do see a little settling back every once in a while, but I think it has spurred a lot of people forward. And the labor market now is also pushing that forward as well. I'm in groups all over the country, internationally, and we have conversations about managing our teams and what is that like and how different it is, and having technology that we can utilize to handle the people and how we manage our team and our work is forcing us to embrace more technology as well. And so I like the idea of continuing this conversation. I don't want to talk about that the cloud is secure anymore. I mean, I'm like, stop that conversation. We're good. But again, there's no certainties in life, and neither is holding it onto your desktop any more secure.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of past that part of the conversation. Now it's a matter of, okay, now I've got to actually do this and make that happen. But there's so much change that is happening so rapidly that I think people are really listening, really starting to say, okay, I can do this, and need the assurance and the confidence from others that have been there and done it. And I think that will help a whole lot for people to feel even better about moving forward into what's coming next.
That's great. One more thing that I want to talk to you about, which you mentioned earlier, which was the customer, which was really interesting from my perspective, because the biggest pushback we get on technology, utilizing Loom or Zoom or getting everybody to communicate you through cloud, was that the customer's not going to be happy. They're not going to want to do it. But you just told me that you built an entire practice on the fact that you're going to do it completely virtual, completely in the cloud, and customers that weren't already there asked questions, but were fine moving to the cloud to work with you. So be the testimonial here that we need to have for all bookkeepers and accountants to understand that the one or two odd customers that won't want to move with you, if they want your expertise and professionalism and what you offer, they will move to whatever technology. Let's hear it, Carla.
Well, I tell people all the time, we need to quit letting the tail wag the dog. And
Right.
I
That's a good one.
don't want my customers telling me how to run my business. I want to serve them in the best way. And for our team to do that best, this is how we do it. And what I find is that actually gives my clients confidence in what we're doing. Now, does that mean that everybody that comes in the door is the right fit for my firm? Of course not. But when I have said, this is how we're going to run things, people find security in that, and they find that we're leading. We're helping them understand why this makes sense. I spend a lot of time studying and researching and going to conferences and learning about technology around accounting and what that means and what the security of it is and how we interact and all of these things. And I've literally had this conversation with a client before. How much time do you spend doing that? And they're like, well, I don't. And I'm like, I live and breathe this every day. This is going to work for you because these are the things we're going to do. You can test drive it out yourself. We can do a conversion and see what it looks like. You can play in it. And then when you're ready, we'll do your final real conversion and we'll be good to go. And every time I've done that, they've been like, wow, I had no idea. The last time I looked at that, oh, and I'm like, yeah, it was 20 years ago, you know. So we really help them understand and realize that this is our world, right? I don't go to my clients and tell them, you need to change up everything you're doing. They would look at me like I was crazy, but yet we are okay with clients telling us that. And so I want us to be more of a leader for our clients, to help them understand that what we're recommending to them and why we recommend it, and this is the proof points for it. Does it mean that everything is foolproof? Of course not, but nothing is. What they're on now isn't foolproof.
True.
What they're on now has issues. So let's embrace this, understand this prospect, this process that we're doing, and help our clients have that confidence in us that we're really leading them well and willing to embrace those challenges with them and really become a partner to their business. That's what I say. So yeah, this is how we run our business. This is what we do and how we do it. And I am amazed at the folks that have said, I'll never do that. And now they do. And they're like, how did I never do this before? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm glad you're here now. So that's kind of what we've
That's
done.
amazing. And on that topic, this is more for the bookkeeping side, because the bookkeepers, when it comes to these processes, you're not agnostic when it comes to software. If you're on cloud-based bookkeeping, you pick a certain, we call it tech stack or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And basically what you're saying is when you pick that laneway, you become an expert there, and that allows the comfort level. So for any accounting or bookkeeping firm out there, if you're going to do what we call business management or data processing as part of your service, not just the year-end component, you should also be very proficient in the tech stack. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
You shouldn't have 12 different accounting packages that you're working on.
Absolutely not. We have one main one. We do have a couple clients on another one, but they're the outliers. They're the special use cases, and we just kind of
we
let
always
them
have
be.
special ones. I agree.
Yeah, you've got your specials, right? You got your pet projects over here and whatever, but we primarily have a very standard tech stack that we do, one primary accounting. We've really narrowed that down to exactly how we work best with our clients. And here's the thing though, I'm not selling the software for the vendors. Like that's not my job. My job is for us to talk about when you use these tools, this is the result we can give you, and we can work toward this with you. We can have more conversations ahead of time and so on. And so in our firm, everybody is required to be certified at the core level, if not more advanced certifications on the core software that we use. And I don't want just test passing. I want you deeply understanding the nuances of it. We are absolutely doing continual training. That's one of our core values, that we educate ourselves so we can educate others. The more we know about these tools, the more confident we are, the more we can help our clients. And so we are all in on these products, and we are tight with those vendors. I happen to teach for some of them, so that kind of helps a little bit, but we definitely do a lot of education around all these products, because that it makes us better at what we do, and it makes us better to serve our clients.
Fantastic. I got to be honest with you. What we did today, Carla, is we talked about the modern practice, but we actually went into almost every aspect of what a modern practice would be. I know we did that through a conversation, but I think we tackled quite a few components here. Yeah. The only one that we just don't have time for, and maybe we can have you back, is we should have a more detailed one about, and we briefly touched on it, which was the staffing. This is a primary issue right now about staffing, how to keep them happy, how to manage. And as we know now, the professional bookkeeper and accountant staff person doesn't want to work in the office day and night. They want a hybrid at best, or maybe completely virtual, right? Yeah. But that's for another day to talk about, because I think we'll take up another half hour for sure just on that alone.
Absolutely. Yes.
Carla, let everybody know, how can they get a hold of you? Where can they find you? I know that you also have a podcast. Please let everybody know about the brand new podcast that you're doing.
Yeah. So Caldwell CT, so Caldwell, Caldwell Consulting and Training is my website, and you're welcome to check out. The podcast is listed there. There's a whole page for it. It's Perfect. The Accounting Ventures podcast, and I co-host that with a colleague out in Arizona named Kevin Stevens, and he runs a CPA firm out there with offices in Flagstaff and Phoenix. And we talk about what is going on with our people, our processes, and our technology in our industry. And he has a very different practice than I do, and we bring a lot of different perspectives to it, and a little bit of humor, because, if you can't have fun doing what you do, then just don't. So we have some fun. fun chatting on that. And then I work with accounting firms, either developing training programs or coaching the people
Right.
that are trying to lead the accounting services team, whether that's bookkeeping firms or that's an accounting firm, CPA firms even, that have an accounting services. And we just talk through what is your mission and your goals and how can we implement that, and then walk them through that as they are rolling out technology and processes and things like that with their team, and just watch them grow and serve their clients the way they've always wished they could. So that's what I get to do. I love it.
Well, that's great. And by the way, we always like to laugh. Accountants are hidden comedians, right? Technically, if we could have been a comedian, we would probably would prefer to that, but we're not good at it, so we try, right? I guess does that make sense? Because
Sure.
I try to be funny, but the only people that laugh at me are usually the family, and they're just being nice. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
then you don't have teenagers because mine don't even laugh at me anymore. So.
Yeah, well, mine are growing up, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
so they're just treating me as the old guy.
So there's
Make them
hope I'll get
happy.
laughter later, is what you're
Yes,
saying.
you will. Yes, the teenagers have attitudes. I agree, but after that, they'll all smarten up.
Good,
They'll be
good.
nice to you. I swear. The
Oh, one
teenage
day.
kids,
I can't wait.
yeah,
I'm blessed. I've got great kids and a wonderful husband that is encouraging all the way through all of this fun stuff that we get to do. So it's
fantastic.
awesome. Love it. But I'm not sure I'll go the comedian route. So
Yeah, me neither. The jokes we did on this show is probably the best I'll ever do. So
there you
just
go. That's probably me too. Absolutely.
so Carla, thank you for being on the show. And if you enjoyed the show, please subscribe. Have a great day. Stay hydrated and be healthy. Bye for now.